Well, just at the shop here at the new Nodar Vancouver Island section, and we finally got everything kind of cleaned up and put away, and I've managed to get a car into the shop finally. You can see the kind of setup here. Got my bench and stuff like that. So in terms of room, we're looking pretty good. I've got my, this car is a very big car. This is my Audi S6. And we don't even have it fully in. I mean, there's still, 2-3 feet towards the back. There's plenty enough room to open doors and everything. Work on stuff. Tons of room up front. There's probably enough room actually up front here that you could probably pull a whole engine out just with the engine hoist. So in terms of that, we're looking pretty darn good. It's a little thin. I mean, in terms of width, it's definitely a little bit to be desired. But I mean, it is what it is. If you needed to work, I mean, you could still get out on these doors, of course. But you just got to be careful. So if you want to do work on the doors or something like that, you just got to shuffle the car over a bit like that. I've got my wheel collection kind of all sorted up on the shelf. Got my jack and jack stands. I've got my saw part collection and everything. SPG kit for Saab 900, some intercoolers, and I got saw parts more down there. I've got power tools and stuff like that over here. Alpha Milano parts. There's a lot of stuff like this, and vacuum bags and stuff like that, which are actually going to go all along the wall on these joist braces, or on these stud braces, I should say, and they're perfect little tables. So I vacuumed them all off so that they're nice and clean. I wanted it to start out nice and clean here, so we did that. And then I've got to now go through all my totes and get all my tools all organized and stuff like that. So they're gonna mostly go up onto the table there. The jacks and stuff like that, I got plenty of room for them just kicking around the shop. I got another one under the bench there. So yeah, I got decent amount of space. I mean, I've really only got about maybe a little bit more than half of all my car parts here from the from Nodarperformance, but in reality, we can probably find more room on the shelves once, obviously, the tools and stuff like that are all put away. And then I gotta maybe look at getting a newer, better toolbox to consolidate that stuff, because I've actually had this I've had this tool chest since I was 16 years old. So it's definitely, I mean, it wasn't expensive to begin with. I think it was like $170 for this back in the day, and it's time to, I think, maybe upgrade to something a little bit more adult, But yeah, we got the good old Maxell guy hanging up, and just gonna start organizing stuff. But for now, I gotta do a couple little odds and ends on this, so it's gonna be kind of the first little job I ever did in my new shop. So yeah, not looking too bad. You can see my hose reels up mounted in the corner, but there's no air line. I've got to run a copper compressor line up over the top of the door and into the shop next door, because he's got a big compressor next door, and so I'm just going to tie into that with on his copper line some more. So that's going to be kind of my project next week. Get that all dealt with. And the next project I got to deal with as well is I've got one. I guess it's a 15 amp saw outlet, but it is a 12 gauge wire, so it's technically a 20 amp circuit. So I need to, because this is the only one I have. I mean, there's one over there too, but that's not really the area that I bother going in. So I'm gonna run a 12 gauge cord up over the top, hang it up to there, and bring an outlet box down on my bench here. Because when you're doing soldering and stuff like that, it's nice to have a bunch of stuff plugged in up on the bench and stuff like that, and run a light as well. Would be nice. Clip on a light up to here, whatever, and shine it down. So, a couple things to look at for sure. A couple little projects ahead of me. But for now, I'm sort of did my preliminary setup and should be ready to go.